in this video I will be going through the Blackpink opinions that I was sent on Quora. For everyone, aka the 1 or 2 people who might have been waiting for this video, I'm really sorry that it took me like literally ages. My excuse is that school started and I've been really busy with all the things that come with that. I probably would have had the time to make this video way quicker anyway, if I'm being honest, but I'm just lazy, I suppose, and I have felt like doing nothing when I've had the opportunity to do nothing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video now that it's here, and please tell me your opinions down below. I left some opinions out so that this video wouldn't get too long and so that I wouldn't be repeating myself. I think Lisa is the second best dancer that I've ever come across, maybe even the best. I actually used to not understand the hype around her, but I think recently she has really been able to showcase her skills. Lisa's execution, in my opinion, is always perfect. Her moves are sharp, clear, never done sloppily, and always perfected down to the smallest details. Still, she has fluidity and adds her own charisma to each move. When she dances, it looks effortless, yet I haven't seen anyone, for example, cover this dance nearly as well as Lisa did it. She's able to transmit emotions and convey different moods outstandingly. She can be the definition of sexy, sultry, and sensual, yet also knows how to appear cool and nonchalant. In Youth With You, we also get to see Lisa's ability to pinpoint exactly what and how to change the way you execute a move to get the desired result. She also has great memory, isolations, facial expressions, and pretty good freestyle, so I don't really get what makes her overrated. The only dancer that might be better than her, in my opinion, is Chaeyeon. The way she dances just looks effortless and airy, and there's just a beautiful weightlessness to it that makes her dancing very addictive to watch. I basically agree with this. I don't have an issue with people stunning one member because with the way that Blackpink is marketed, it's made very easy to gravitate towards a specific member, yet not necessarily feel that interested in the whole group's activities. So I don't see an issue with this because supporting one member isn't really taking anything away from the others. However, it becomes an issue when people feel the need to tear down other members to lift one up. Yeah, that's just completely unnecessary and, as you said, very toxic. I honestly don't understand the criticism about their vocals. The entirety of Blackpink sang all of their encore stages well, which I think proves that they are stable performers. I want to briefly address this, even though I'll probably get butchered for bringing another group into this, but basically there was this encore stage where some of the Twice members struggled a bit while singing. And while I don't think Twice are bad singers because everyone has bad days, but I just feel that it's odd how Blackpink gets so much hate for their vocal skills when they keep proving that they are stable singers, but then no one seems to latch onto the other group's weaker moments in a similar way. Yes, other groups may suffer for it for a day, but it just gets brushed off as them not being a vocal heavy group and them having a bad day, whereas Blackpink for some reason seem to never get out of being branded as weak vocalists, and for pretty much no reason. All the videos that I've seen of Rosé singing are very stable, and on top of that her tone of voice is so beautiful and unique. Jisoo and Jennie are also amazing and unique vocalists and pretty much always stable. Finally, someone said this. I really think that Blackpink's Bond is underrated because they might not seem as out there as other groups. But can I just say, you don't need to be extreme crackheads to have a close relationship. Blackpink are always spending time together and seem to really have so much fun with each other. They often talk about how they've gone through so much together as a group, which has made their bond stronger. They always show their support for one another, comfort each other, and genuinely seem to want to spend time with each other. They also just have this chemistry where it's comfortable watching them interact because it feels like they're pretty much all on the same wavelength. For the most part, I agree with this. I think that they are both great rappers, and I use the term rappers because according to the definition, you qualify as a rapper simply by performing rap. However, considering the history of rap, yes, writing your own lyrics is generally considered an important aspect of being a rapper, since this will make it more raw and authentic. However, while rap in K-pop is obviously inspired by hip-hop, which has its origins in America, I struggle to compare the two because the cultures are just ultimately very different. Therefore, I feel that I can't expect the same from Blackpink than from American hip-hop artists. When it comes to Jennie and Lisa, I find their rapping very appealing because they definitely have charisma and attitude when performing it. It's simply satisfying to listen to, and I prefer the style to most other rappers. However, I don't feel knowledgeable enough to evaluate who the best K-pop girl group rappers truly are. This is totally true, and it's really affecting the quality of their performances. I mean, when you look at performances of Boombaya, for example, no one was complaining about lack of stage presence. And I think that's because the choreography of Boombaya is full of energy and the movements fill up the space. Whereas the newer choreos seem so bland that they really just make the stage feel empty. So yeah, to YG, please create more elaborate choreos. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't really apply to Don't Know What to Do, because I did really enjoy that choreo, and I also quite like the choreo of Pretty Savage, actually. Now, I'm going to say something controversial. YG is a huge reason for Blackpink's popularity, and I don't think that Blackpink would be in the position that they are in today without YG. No matter how many things YG does wrong, they still know the ingredients needed to make iconic superstars who will have an aura of untouchability and leave their mark on the industry. I mean, look at Big Bang, look at 21, look at Blackpink. They know what to do to make their groups feel impactful and something that people automatically gravitate towards. At the end of the day, YG created the concept, the music videos, put together the group, and marketed each of the girls in a certain way that appeals to a mass audience. I would guarantee that most fans would not gravitate as much towards Blackpink if they were in a different entertainment company. However, could YG have done things better? Well, yeah, definitely he could have. I mean, yeah, there's always room for improvement. And does this mean that YG's behavior is necessarily ethical and that Blackpink's success is therefore necessarily worth it if it means harming people in the process? Not necessarily, but I will talk about the ethics of YG or something related to their ethics a bit later in this video, so. I don't think that Blackpink are overrated, because overrated basically means that people have a higher opinion of something than is deserved. And generally, I don't feel that K-pop groups are overrated if they reach success, because the idols have had to work extremely hard to even debut, and this is also the case with Blackpink. Sadly, for most K-pop groups, the hard work just doesn't pay off, whereas it sort of did for Blackpink. And overall, it makes sense because the members all have distinct charisma, their concept is appealing, their music videos are really high production, and their songs are addictive. Also, yes, Blackpink are well known, but I don't know if most people have a very high opinion of them. I would actually say that people criticize them more than is necessary. This sounds very blunt, but yeah, I mean, it's basically correct. They are very easily digestible and have a lot of superficial appeal, but what can I say? I mean, I've also fallen for this, and as I've learned more about them, I've also found that I really like the members' actual personalities and group chemistry too, so I figured why not support them. And yeah, it's not like most other K-pop groups are much better, to be honest. I definitely agree with this. I mean, there could have been more versatility, mainly in the chorus, in my opinion, between How You Like That, Kill This Love, and Do 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 Do. However, it makes sense that they would release the type of music that works for them. Also, even if the song structure is similar, the melodies in the verses and pre-choruses didn't sound the same, so I don't really have anything to complain about that. And yeah, their title tracks may seem similar, but their B-sides do not, and are also very high quality if you ask me, so it would be great if people just stopped complaining about this topic, because actually, their B-sides or like their discography is quite diverse and quite innovative, I would say. I agree with this for the most part. However, I do think that Blackpink sometimes lack more stage presence than they should. such as here. However, they typically perform well at concerts, which I feel is probably related to the atmosphere affecting their energy levels and passion. And there are times when their stage presence is insanely good. However, when they do perform less well, I don't really feel that schedules being packed is necessarily an excuse in Blackpink's case. I do think that Jennie is good enough to be a lead dancer, but I still wouldn't switch Rose's position with hers. I think that there are times when her dancing has too little power or is a bit too sloppy, as in there isn't enough focus on the details, and I also think that she's a bit inconsistent, whereas Rose really puts her own charisma on the choreo, has strength, yet fluidity, and is consistent with the performances, so I think she's a bit better, though Jennie is still definitely an above average K-pop dancer. Honestly, I don't think that Blackpink are as mistreated as people make it seem. There are groups that are completely overworked and produce content that's actually low quality in my opinion because they haven't taken their time to polish whatever they are releasing, yet people complain about this way less. Blackpink themselves mentioned in a recent interview that they prefer quality over quantity and therefore give a lot of time to each song, and that recently they've been going to the studio every day, working with their producer, and since they're on a roll, have been thinking of preparing even more stuff than planned. The way that they phrased it sounded more like they actually have quite a lot of control over their work, and their working environment actually sounded pretty chill. From watching Somi's docuseries, I also got the impression that all the artists, managers, producers, etc. at YG are a pretty tight-knit group, and it seems like a relaxed, pretty liberal working environment actually. And yeah, I've also gotten the impression that YG actually pays their artists more for the same work compared to a lot of other entertainment companies. So yeah, even if Blackpink release less content, they get more money for it, I would imagine. And, also, it's better to release less high quality content because that clearly makes you popular versus releasing low quality content frequently because it doesn't really do much for your career because people are not going to be gravitated towards your content at all. I definitely agree with the statement that they weren't ready for the tour simply because of the lack of songs. For the remaining hour, I believe they did covers, which to be honest, I think were pretty iconic, but nevertheless, if you're going to make people pay a lot of money to see you perform your songs, you need to give people exactly that. So yeah, I do find it quite shocking that YG thought that it was a good idea to do a world tour before giving them songs to perform. But yeah, I sort of addressed the stage presence and vocal side of this earlier, so to summarize it, I do disagree with this part of your statement. I can't claim that shipping overall is wrong or weird because I would be a hypocrite, but that being said, if you're going to take a ship seriously as in claim that it's real, there should be convincing evidence that is not overanalyzed, manipulated, or extremely far-fetched. Also, don't behave in a way that will harm the members, for example by putting other members into a negative light for the sake of making your ship seem real. If an idol expresses discomfort with shipping, you should also stop. When it comes to ships between Blackpink and BTS, I too find it just odd because there's no foundation for any of the ships. There are barely any interactions and the groups barely even react to each other at award shows. So I must say shipping them together seriously is pretty insane. However, if you just like to entertain the idea without claiming that they are real, I'd say do whatever floats your boat. I definitely think that Blackpink's fandom has its issues and there is a large amount of toxic fans. However, I don't really know what can be done about that. I mean, Blackpink has a lot of shallow appeal, so they will inevitably also attract less mature people. It will be a mixed bag. Some amount of toxicity is unavoidable, but I think it's ultimately your choice if you decide to focus on only the bad apples and then go on to generalize the whole fandom as toxic. Personally, I just don't pay attention to the toxic people or then laugh at their comments instead of taking them seriously. This may sound messed up, but I'm actually often very entertained by the immaturity that I come across within the fandom, so it doesn't really bother me. So yeah, I guess in conclusion, these people's opinions only have weight if you allow them to have weight.